Previously on X-Men. The X-Men get their butts kicked by Magneto for the second week in a row. Xavier comes to the rescue and conducts a PTSD train right through Magneto's mind. Sabretooth was in the mood for ribs and decided to try some of Wolverine's, leaving him badly injured. What happens next? Find out now on an all-new episode of the Uncanny X-Cast. I'm your host, Wes Vereen, aka Just Wes, and this is my co-host, Jason. Hey, Jason.
What's up, Wes? Wes Vereen. Yeah, man. Twing.
Yeah.
I need a cool name. Jambit. Does that? No, I feel like that's someone from Animal Crossing. I need a good
Jace or not.
Jace or not. I like it. What's up, everyone? I'm Jace or not. Yeah, man. Good to see you. Can't wait to talk about this mediocre episode. Definitely not
Captive Hearts.
Yeah, Captive Hearts. Definitely not as fun as some of the other ones, but I'm looking forward to jumping in and talking with this for you or with you.
Yeah, and before we dive into the episode, today's episode, which is titled Captive Hearts, I wanted to run by some title ideas because our currently untitled X-Cast does need a name at some point.
Yes, we can't keep calling it this.
We can't. And I was thinking about it, every week it's like we investigate the X-Men, and like we're deep diving into the files, and then the X-Men.
I love it. Is that a copyright thing though? Like, are we gonna get in trouble because we are called the X-Files when David Duchovny and is it Jacob Gillian? No, not Jacob. Karen Gillian? No, that's Marvel. Shoot, what's her? Scully. No, is that David Duchovny? I don't know. I never watched the X-Files. That's something else we can talk about down the road, but I don't want them to get mad at us.
So you're saying the X-Files is already taken?
I think it might be. I might need to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure it is.
I thought we struck gold. Well, moving right along, we're going to deep dive into this episode, Captive Hearts, and you kind of touched upon it earlier. But Jason, I want to know, what did you think of this episode? Your overall feelings?
Man, after the first 4 episodes, I was really hoping this was going to be another banger of an episode. But honestly, and we were kind of talking about this, and I was thinking this as well. This was just kind of meh. Like, nothing really happened. It's a very one-off scenario that I don't, unless I'm mistaken and later seasons will come back into play, it didn't feel like it went anywhere story-wise. Oh, I shouldn't say that. It kind of played into something that we'll talk about in another episode. But for the most part, this was a very contained little romp through New York. Is that where they live? I don't know where they live.
Yes.
Is it New York?
Yes.
Yeah, just a weird little one-off story, honestly. Like, no real memorable characters. The baddie was kind of gross, and why she wanted to keep Cyclops. Like, the reason behind it was like, that's not how that works. There needs to be consent on both fronts, kind of deal. But but yeah, it was just kind of a meh episode to me.
Yeah, fair enough. The A story was a little disjointed, and the B story served to just set up the next episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we're going to get right in. It starts off with the X-Men training in the war room. And as they're having a difficult time, Xavier throws out, "Remember what happened to Morph." Kind of like serving to inspire them to train harder, but also
so
reminding them that death is just right around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this thing is probably still very fresh in y'all's mind and hearts. Don't be like Morph, train harder than Morph. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Xavier,
yeah,
come on.
Talk about stress. Like, it's if you don't train hard enough, you're going to die, is essentially what he's telling them.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And then on top of that, we have so here's the thing, is last episode we talk about he PTSDs Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then in this episode, he's triggering them again by reminding them of their dead teammate, and then the cherry on top of the PTSD milkshake is he knows that Storm is claustrophobic. So what does he implement into the war room's programming?
Yeah, he just straight up, hey, let's close all these walls on you and have Storm be the one to completely lose it and almost endanger everyone else because of that. Like, there's some weird choices, Xavier.
He's hardcore in the PTSD triggering department. But yeah, he has walls close in on Aurora, which obviously induces her claustrophobia.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men help her out, and I did love this is there's like a frame where she's trapped, and then they come in to help her, and immediately the walls are gone. So
really,
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm not sure if that was like something the artist like. Ooh, this is like a really good symbol for having friends, family, around you, surrounding you that open up, or if it was just like a weird timing frame issue or not. But I need to check that back out because that'd be really cool if it was the former rather than the latter.
Yeah, I would hope that it's what you said, but it was quick. It's like the walls are closing in on her, it cuts to somebody else's face, and then it's like a wider shot, and there's no walls anymore. And I think Storm's still like on the ground on all fours. So like, all right, okay, whatever. Moving on.
I did want to mention.
Oh no, go ahead.
So last 2 episodes, where was Gambit? Gambit was nowhere to be seen. He's doing something. First thing we see is Gambit throwing cards and getting ready to battle. Like, where were you the last major battle with nuclear warheads? Like, why are you now just showing up again? Come on, Gambit.
He was on that road trip with Jared. Yeah, they're touring the country, or he was with that girl from the first episode.
From the card shop.
Yeah, the card shop.
Oh, Gambit.
Yeah, playing poker.
Oh goodness.
So moving right along, we see Wolverine performing karate in his room. He's still bandaged up, by the way. So I don't understand. I just wish that the show had implemented a reason for why his healing factor doesn't immediately recover.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd think, okay, this might take a day to heal, but he's still bandaged up. And jumping ahead a bit, he's still bandaged up later on in the episode. So I don't know why he's not healed up.
And yeah, that's a good point. Just that, again, we'll talk about this next one. There's something else happens in the next episode where he's like, oh, nope, I'm good to go. Let's go. Just starts doing stuff. So again, I'm assuming it's for story reasons. They need Wolverine to be kind of injured to move the story along. It just canonically with his character, it doesn't make sense unless somehow Sabretooth is that much stronger than him. And he's also adamantium skeleton or something. I really don't know, but it was kind of weird.
To say like, oh, Sabretooth's adamantium tipped claws are the thing that can slow down his healing factor or something, but it is weird that he was completely bandaged at one point and now he's healed, but his rib cage is still damaged. But in any event, this scene serves to set up the infamous Jean Grey, Wolverine, Scott Summers love triangle. And tell me, what did you think of that, Jason?
I knew that was something, I think, from the X2 and no, was it X2 and the X3 of the last one. I knew that was something. So I kind of figured eventually that was going to show up. It shows up out of nowhere, though. I will say that.
It really does.
Like, as you said, Wes, Wolverine is just practicing his judo in the infirmary, and just Jean Grey comes out and says, oh, no, you can't be doing this, or I miss you, or we need you. It's like, I need you. I was like, whoa, that's really coming on strong there, Wolverine. Like, did they have something beforehand, or what? I don't know.
Yeah, we wouldn't know from the show, but it cuts to a very close-up shot because Wolverine staggers and Jean Grey catches him, and there's a close-up shot of them face-to-face, just about to kiss. And I feel like that said everything, right? They're just that single, because they really haven't had too many scenes together before this. And then that right there sets up everything you need to know about how Wolverine feels about Jean Grey.
I think Jean Grey feels something for Wolverine as well. I don't know if it's the same as what Wolverine thinks she feels for him, but I think there is definitely something there. don't have the backstory on what that is, if that is something that hopefully we get in later seasons or episodes, or if that is just like, will they, won't they? It's always been like that kind of situation.
Yeah, because obviously I've had this story in my head for 30 something years, so I've had a little bit more time to think about it. And this is kind of deducing from the comics, going a little bit farther. But I think that Jean Grey was with Cyclops first because they were both the original X-Men, right?
Okay.
Jean Grey was Professor X's first student, and Cyclops was the first X-Man.
Oh.
So I think that she's just been with him. That's what she knows. But at the end of the day, Cyclops can be very disciplined and cold, and emotionally unavailable. And the appeal to her with Wolverine is that he's very emotional. He wears his heart on his sleeve. So that like raw emotion is kind of attractive to her, because sometimes Cyclops could be cold and distant for her.
Yeah, I can.
So
see
I think
that.
That's the appeal. Yeah, because otherwise, Wolverine's just a hothead.
Yeah. Also true.
He's just a hairy, short hothead. So what's attractive about that? Yeah. So, but yeah, and then Jean Grey leaves the scene saying, "I gotta go. Scott's waiting for me." And Wolverine by himself says to himself, "So am I." Pretty sad, but right there as a kid, I got it. He loves her.
Yeah, he definitely loves her. Yeah.
Yeah. And then and that's interesting, because I want to know, what is it? This I don't have an answer for. What is it about her that he has feelings for? Like, I don't really know what's the appeal of specifically Jean to Wolverine, but I don't know. The show didn't give us an answer so far.
Yeah.
Other than maybe he just wants to stick it to Cyclops.
I hope not. I hope the writers aren't that kind of. What's the word? I'm like, not. Oh gosh. I don't remember what I was going to say, but I hope the writers have actual in-depth meaning on what this connection could be down the road. But it's not just some superficial, this is, F you Cyclops kind of deal. That'd be kind of...
I don't know. That seems to make the most sense.
They do have a very volatile relationship from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. Wolverine, he doesn't have a type. We'll see throughout the show. He's not like he only dates redheads, so I don't know. Maybe he just likes unavailable women. That's his thing. Because Storm and Rogue both single, and he's not interested.
Yeah.
Not yet. Anyway. Moving on, we get introduced to the Morlocks, which actually will start with just the introduction to them. There's a kid Leech. And he is just on the street side, and an angry mob sees a mutant child and decides, like, they're going to stomp him out. Like, this mob isn't just like, hey, get away. There's the threat of violence is very real, which I was shocked by. And what I did love about this is right after we kind of introduced Magneto and all that, and get into Sabretooth a little bit, the show jumps right back into reminding you that mutants are feared and hated. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that. I didn't get that connection, but yeah, that there's still normal everyday stuff that they have to deal with. That sucks, especially for a little kid.
Right. Yeah, he's a child, and granted, he's a monstrous looking child, but it's a child nonetheless. And this mob is ready to
just beat him up for stealing what looks like an apple and a lemon.
Yeah, they don't have grocery stores down in the subterranean tunnels.
Yeah,
so he can't starve.
It was very weird. I do like, though, that before that scene, we see Cyclops and Jean Grey coming out of the Phantom of the Opera. Like, what is more? I don't know, something about that. It didn't rub me the wrong way. It's just like, why an opera? Like, out of all things, an opera. I mean, I don't know. It just was kind of odd. And then them talking, just Cyclops, as you said, he's kind of very disciplined. It's like, it means so much to be an X-Men. I want everyone to know how, what that is. And then Jean Grey, after they hear the kid running away from the mob, it's like, well, I guess that goes our evening. Kind of like disappointed that they have to go help save someone from being potentially attacked. It's like, that's kind of weird too.
And it's your two things. One, it's like that's what you'd write as like a kid. You know, when you're writing what adults do, like the adults went on a date, they saw a play or an opera. You know,
They
it's
went.
like because you think as a kid, like, yeah, that's what adults do. But now as adults, we're like, yeah, I've been to zero opera, maybe one, but that's not a date night thing, you know. And
Mhm.
but maybe that's and then him talking about after the date, not asking Jean Grey what she thought of the opera, but rather bragging about how he loves being an X-Men. Maybe those are the things that turn her off about him
Maybe.
and and make Wolverine more attractive. Because you're just like, God, this guy is taking me to boring operas, talking about himself, doesn't care about how I feel.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, but good point, good point. And then so they stumble upon the scene, they follow Leech into the sewers, and we are introduced to the Morlocks. And this is their first appearance in the animated series, but in the comics, the Morlocks made their first appearance as a group in the Uncanny X-Men 169 issue
Oh.
169, and that happened in 1983. And they were also created by Chris Claremont.
No way,
So
really?
yeah, yeah.
So
So this
not.
is yeah,
Oh
another Chris
wow.
Claremont creation.
Yeah, that's
And what
really
I
cool.
love, yeah, well, the thing I love about the Morlocks, both in the comic and in the cartoon, is that they introduce the idea of a different caste system,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there are mutants on the street who are feared and hated, but then there's mutants so hideous or repulsive that they dare not even show their faces on the street, and they're like an untouchables level of mutants,
Yeah.
which is fascinating because you think mutations affect people differently. Just looking at the X-Men, you know, you've got Cyclops who could just throw on some sunglasses, Jean Grey who looks totally normal, and then you have Beast
Mm-hmm.
who couldn't even a trench coat and sunglasses couldn't even cover up
Those
his
ears.
mutations.
Yeah.
Well, because like Angel used to do that trick. Angel used to just throw on. He
Uh.
used to tie his wings down and put on a trench coat and hide his wings and go to the
Oh.
grocery
Okay.
store. But no matter what, Beast can't do it. So
Yeah, I did find that a little. Actually, now that you say that, that makes sense, and that is very interesting. On that point, though, besides that one dude that was super slimy looking, everyone else looked pretty normal. They're just using their powers more for nefarious stuff. Like, but yeah, that is very interesting that they don't see themselves as normal human mutants, that they're below that, and they can't come out of where they are until the time where mutants and humans can coexist side by side in a peaceful manner. So that's pretty interesting to think about.
yeah, which is despairing because could that day ever happen?
Yeah.
They're kind of holding out hope for a day that ultimately could never happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it does happen, they might know weeks later because they're living in tunnels.
They're going to be a little late on that news.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to bother to tell them either. Hey, Morlocks, you can come out
It's,
now.
I'm
We've reached a
sorry.
peace deal.
It's been 6 months. I totally forgot to send something to you. I'm so sorry. Come on out. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Bring a jacket.
Like,
It's
hey, you
winter
want to?
time.
Yeah, you want to tell the Morlocks we've reached a peace deal? No, it smells horribly down there.
Do they
I
know
don't
what
want to tell
winter
them.
is? Have they
Yeah,
seen?
they'll find out. They'll get around to it. And then, so quickly, the Morlocks introduced, and then we see. I was waiting for this. I didn't realize it was going to happen so early on in the show, but we see the classic, infamous. Actually, Jason, tell the
So,
audience what do we finally
okay,
see?
so as y'all might know, I have never seen the animated series, but being a kid in my or an adult now, memes are something that have been relevant to social media, to kind of popular culture for a while now. Well, one of those memes happens to be a picture, a three-panel picture of Wolverine laying on his bed, Wolverine holding a picture, and then seeing that picture of Jean Grey. So I had no idea that that meme came from this episode. When I saw that, um, I was giddy with joy. Like, it was like, oh, it's the
Yeah,
meme. I know this. I know what this is. It's like the scene from the first Adventures with Captain America says, I know that reference. I know that
yeah.
reference. And it was just,
It's
it's so good.
it's funny that we're talking about the meme with other memes because I was the Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I was the guy on the couch pointing at the TV screen
It's so
because
good.
I knew it was from the show, but I didn't realize it was so early on. So I was eating and I was having dinner last night while I was watching it. So I'm like with a mouth full, I'm sitting there pointing at the screen.
Oh my goodness,
It's
that's
great.
too good. That's too good.
Yeah. And then we cut to the hallway where I wish Jared were here to explain this, but our favorite Raging Cajun, Gambit, reappears finally after being MIA for a couple of episodes. And he is wearing a Speedo while I think walking with Rogue. Yeah. And I wish Jared were here to explain why. What? Speedo? Come on. In the hallway. Like, he didn't even wrap his towel around it. He's vibing.
He's going
just
for
sending
it.
out.
He's going
Yeah,
for it, man.
he's just sending out, the vibe to everybody walking by. I love it. Yeah. So then we get back into the Morlocks, and to touch upon what you said earlier, the Morlocks are so hideous and so repulsive that they can't show up on the streets, but some of them don't look that different. For example, their leader Callisto just looks like Joan Jett with an eye patch. Joan Jett is awesome, and she's a punk rocker, and she's a rock and roll star, and wearing an eye patch honestly would make Joan Jett more metal, I would think. So I wonder, does Nick Fury get confused for a mutant when he's in public? Like, is the eye patch a sign of mutants or more pirates? I would think that she's a pirate before I would think she's a mutant.
I think it's one of those 90 things where, because everyone, like the Morlocks themselves, compared to what the X-Men look like, when it comes to just the style of them, the Morlocks have that more punky look to them, right? Like that more street type look. I think that was just like a 90s thing, like, oh, we're different because we are more rebellious, and that makes people fear us over the, I was going to say the patriarchy, but that's not right, but over the system, like the X-Men are shown, at least appearance wise. But yeah, it was very, like, that's a very 90s thing. Like, that's something, all the stuff with the Morlocks, for whatever reason, it started making me think of Mad Max, like the Mel Gibson Mad Max, and that kind of costuming that they had for that, like that very out there punk, a post-apocalyptic aesthetic kind of deal. And granted, not all of them look like that, but Callisto definitely looks like something out of that.
That's a good call, because you think they're in New York, right? And New York had a famous punk rock scene.
Mm-hmm.
So the Morlocks, as they rise to the surface, because again, there are no retail stores in the subterranean tunnels. So they've got to rise to the surface, and they're probably going to go to the more seedy areas of New York to retrieve their clothing. From like dumpsters or areas like that. So the punk rock scene probably gave them the least amount of trouble, because they're the above ground outcasts. So maybe that's why they're bothering their look.
Very true.
Or they've got like psychological scarring where they were already coming from broken homes or whatever, so they were already feeling not good enough, and then they've got their mutant powers, so they feel like, I've got to go to the tunnels. But yeah, they end up getting into a fight with the Morlocks, and the Morlocks have some pretty creepy powers.
They do.
Very weird, right? Very disturbing. Which one stood out to you?
The one that the first one that stood out to me was a slime dude, just like throwing greasy stuff onto people and like creating walls and stuff. I thought one of my notes is, ew, slime guy grosses me out. Because what that guy reminds me of, and this is something more recently, but if you ever have read Junji Ito, he does some really messed up like manga stuff, and there's this one where it's a father, a brother, and a sister. They're all stuck inside a house, and the family is just incredibly greasy. And just the imagery that he uses for that, it's really gross and kind of tryptophobia in their depictions in that the manga. And that is what that made me think of when I saw Slime Guy just like throwing greasy slime on, making a wall, or entrapping Storm. The other one was the grandma. That she's stronger than Jean Grey to be able to manipulate them to bend to their will. Like that was the other one.
She has Jean Grey calling her mommy.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene.
Cyclops gets beat, I think, pretty easily, and then Jean Grey is holding her own.
She
Jean
is.
Grey's
Yeah.
she's beating everybody, and then the grandma creepily peers out from behind that wall and starts saying like a nursery rhyme or something,
It's so
and it causes
creepy.
Jean Grey to revert back into a child, and she's like, "No, mommy," because Cyclops and Jean are in peril, and the rest of the X-Men appear to rescue them. And like you said, Slime Guy makes the wall; they have to get through that, and then the grandmother has turned Jean Grey against the X-Men, because when the X-Men appear to rescue Jean Grey, she's like, "Mommy, who are these bad guys?"
Mhm.
And she's telling them like, "Those are the enemies. We have to defeat them."
Yeah.
And then there's the girl with like the Trix yogurt colored hair that does like, she can like shift her body pretty weirdly.
Oh yeah. She's like becomes like a flat thing from like an old '90s. There's a really famous like clip of early CGI movie, and it's just like, I think it's not Lawnmower Man or something, but it's just a dude.
Oh wow.
It's just, I'll see if I can find and put it into the actual edit itself, but it's just so janky looking. He's just like a 2D figure in 3D space. I forgot that this one person can become a flat piece of paper. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
There's some nutty stuff. And then, I don't know if you were going to mention this, that one that turns into a dinosaur out of nowhere, like just straight up turns into a dinosaur. Like,
well, yeah, I was gonna say Gambit. So to rewind back a little bit, there's a scene where the X-Men appear and Cyclops, or no, this is after do they rescue Jean Grey? I don't know. Anyway, they show up to the Morlocks, and Cyclops is on the ground, and Callisto says no one can help him now, but he's still alive. You know, like I don't understand. Like, it's like, hey, we just shake him and wake him up. But as we touched upon before, the Morlocks must smell horribly, because Wolverine knows that that's not Cyclops.
Yeah. That was
And he
really
runs
good.
over and shakes him, and it's Leech pretending to be Cyclops, which then causes another battle. And then at that point, to touch upon the Lizard Lady, Gambit is owning everybody and thinks that he's about to win the battle. And then that lady turns into a giant lizard, and Gambit no longer has the upper hand.
Yeah, that stops him. And immediately after that, the Storm comes and zaps the dinosaur back to her human form. But that's still, Gambit is done after that. Like, I saw a dinosaur. I can't cope. I need to get out of here. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Does she transform into anything else? Because like Leech can also shapeshift. So does the one lady just turn into dinosaurs? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. The Morlocks have a very bizarre skill set, you know.
Yeah, very.
And I think it's somebody's issues the line. I didn't give them credit, but they say they need to bust out of this puke hole. Which again,
that's so gross.
The Morlocks, it's like the Morlocks get teased even by other mutants. There's just no. Granted, they didn't start this; they started the altercation, but. And what did you think of Callisto's overall plan? Like, why she even abducted the X-Men?
It made no sense. Like, the whole point... Okay, so the entire reason why Callisto eventually, trapped Cyclops and Jean was so Callisto and Cyclops can become a power couple and somehow create an offspring that is more powerful than the two of them. But... Cyclops, of course, says, no, I'm not going to do that. And Callisto, no, you're going to do that. It's like it was very weird coming, from when it was made back in the early 90s to where we are socially with that kind of stuff nowadays. It's very like, oof, that doesn't hit like it was meant to. And that's kind of awkward to talk about. But regarding that, or not awkward, but just like a very awkward,
and for a kid show,
and for a kid show, it's like, no, I'm holding you against your will until you give me a mutant babies that were. It was very, very. It's like, whoa, X-Men, but before that, how did these mutants get all of these video of like Cyclops and Storm just doing stuff out in the actual world? Like, where are they getting these video files from? Because that was, I don't think I put that on my notes, but it's like, how did they get that footage? Like, have they been spying this entire time and are just now showing themselves? It was very interesting.
Yeah, my original thought was when you mentioned that was, oh, maybe drone footage, but I'm like, wait, hold on.
The drones weren't a thing
No,
back in the 90s. That
no.
also brings me to another point. So Cyclops, we can kind of think of him as, besides Xavier, he's like the captain, co-captain of the X-Men, right? When him and Callisto are talking, he says, "Where's Jean Grey? Like, she won't be a bother to you anymore." He's like, "No, where's Jean Grey?" And then he says, and then Callisto just points to a chain that is just kind of hanging in the middle of a room that Cyclops didn't see before, and Jean Grey's just like hanging above him.
I did notice that. I'm like, Jean Grey is suspended in the air and is totally silent about it. And she can hear him being like, "Hey, where's Jean?" And she's not like, "Scott, I'm up here." It's so bizarre.
Was, like I said, I feel like this was kind of a rush, maybe not necessarily a rushed episode because we don't know what those writers were doing back in the 90s. But it definitely, it's like a weaker episode so far, just from everything that's happened up to this point.
Yeah, because it's like, is it about Cyclops and Jean's date night getting ruined? Is it about Wolverine, Scott, Jean Grey love triangle? Mm-hmm. Is it about, or is it about Storm and her claustrophobia? Because she early on gets triggered in the war room. Then as the X-Men are crawling through the Morlock sewers,
it's starting
Storm
to trigger again
starts to trigger. So you're thinking the whole time, Storm is battling with her claustrophobia because that's the most personal battle in this whole episode, right? So in the 30-minute time slot, John's not here to say it, but we only have a 30-minute time slot. So the one solvable thing in a 30-minute time slot is perhaps having Storm overcome her claustrophobia. So it appeared in the beginning, it appears in the middle, and by the rule of threes, it's got to show up one more time where she triumphs over it, right? But no. She does not need to overcome her claustrophobia when she challenges Callisto to a one-on-one duel. Because at this point, the Morlocks are getting beaten, and Storm steps up and is like, "Hey, it's time to fight." And you'd think, okay, Callisto's powers are going to be maybe something with involving claustrophobia, that she overcomes it. Yeah. But instead, they decide to go totally Star Wars and have a dual-bladed lightsaber battle.
This was another odd choice out of nowhere, at least in my opinion. Like you just said it, the Morlocks were getting beat up. There's no match for the actual X-Men when they start working as a team, but they all stopped that, and Storm ended up saying, "Hey, you and me, mano y mano, no holds barred. Whoever wins is the captain now. Like, I'm the captain. No, I'm the captain now." Kind of, we're doing the Captain Phillips meme thing. But it came out of nowhere, and I don't understand why they chose this as a way to resolve the conflict. Like, unless it was more because how I'm thinking about this, or now that I think about this now, if this is something from Storm's past, that is how they used to resolve things beforehand. I don't know where technically Storm is from, if she is from the States, if she was, kidnapped as a young girl from somewhere else, or if this is just weird...
Cairo.
Cairo?
She was a thief in the streets of Cairo when Xavier first encountered her.
Ah, okay. So in that case, I don't understand why where they got the lightsabers to begin with. Why they are red and blue when we know who's the good guy and the bad guy. Actually, that kind of thinks me of Star Wars. Why are, maybe good and evil, I guess, but it was just a very weird choice, in my opinion, to have them duke it out fisticuff style. Yeah,
they had a dual-bladed lightsaber before Darth Maul had it in Phantom Menace.
Who's stealing from who, George Lucas?
I don't know. Yeah, I found it pretty interesting. And this duel does happen in the comics, but this version in the cartoon show is drastically different because in the comics, they're using knives, actual knives, not fanciful dual-bladed lightsabers. And Storm prison shanks Callisto. Drops her like a bad habit and completely walks away without saying a word.
Wow.
It's pretty brutal. But Storm ultimately wins the fisticuffs duel, as he said, and technically has the rights to be the leader of the Morlocks, but relinquishes the leadership and just leaves Callisto in place to rule it again without really having taught them a lesson. Here, I'm going to give this right back to you, solve nothing, and walk away.
Yeah.
It's other than I just beat you for now. So
yeah, that's one of the things I also have in my notes as well. I always find it weird when, there is someone that is, when two people go at each other in that way, and at the end of it, because someone won a duel, the conflict is just, done. There's no more conflict whatsoever. It's like, no, that's not how, that might, be how some altercations can be fixed, but generally I feel like a one defeat is just going to make that person even more upset and just see that anger, knowing at this point that her entire family has seen her get defeated, and instead of relinquishing that to Storm, saying, y'all come with me, is like, nope, this is Callisto's until I return.
It looks like you haven't set up my message yet.
Whoop.
Who do you want to message?
Sorry.
Is this a guess?
No, that was my iPad talking to me. Whoops.
Is that Cerebro?
It looks like you
Oh, stop it.
message yet. Who do you want to
It's all good. It's all good. Surprise cameo.
But yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't a satisfying ending.
And my concern would be that leaving Callisto in charge after, like you just brought up, she got beat in front of the entire Morlocks, and nobody's going to respect her leadership anymore.
Yeah.
So she's going to be telling them what to do, and they're going to be like, well, "You're not the real ruler.
Yeah,
we don't have to listen to you. You lost."
You're
And
a
now
placeholder. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a power vacuum, and then now there's a mutanty where they don't want to listen to her anymore. I don't know, but none of that is Storm's concern.
Yeah.
They move on.
Yeah, that too. They just like, all right, peace, I'm out. Like, don't
I'm
even.
out.
It was very weird.
They could just completely relocate to another section of sewers, and Storm would not know how to get a hold of them. But whatever, not their concern. Gambit gets badly hurt in the battle. He goes from having the upper hand to getting beat up pretty badly. He's laying in a hospital bed. The X-Men are looking over him, and they do not offer him a hot cocoa like they did in the previous episode.
Yeah, you know what? They don't. That's like a one-time. This is a specific type of battle hot cocoa that is only earned after we fight Sentinels or something. I don't even remember what it was, but yeah,
they had to get back to base for that hot cocoa. But Gambit's laid up in the bed, no bandages on him either. They didn't even remove his body armor. They took his trench coat off, but they didn't take his. He's not like they don't have like sensors on him or
physically doesn't look like anything's wrong with him. Just put him in bed; he'll be fine in the morning.
Yeah, you're not going to do an MRI on him, check if he's concussed. Just lay him down in the bed. And Xavier decides to talk about Gambit's self very briefly, and instead turns and looks at Scott and Jean Grey and says, "I take it your date night was sufficiently memorable." What do you think about this line?
I think Professor X in the show right now is kind of a dick. I think he's headstrong. He is the exact same as Magneto, just not to that 10th or nth degree, right? And I think he was trying to be funny, but it's like, but if I were in that situation and Professor X said that to me, it's like, what? Gambit is hurt. No, this isn't the time, Professor, or something. Like they should have done some type of line like that.
And mind you, he's known these two since they were children.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they're adults, and he's like, "I hope it was memorable." Like, no, never the time, Xavier. You're a father figure to these two.
Yeah, it's just very like there's that '90s humor coming out. I guess it's like, oh, I'm gonna be coy about this, but coy in what way you'll never know, kind of deal.
Yeah, he's like the anti-Gambit, because Gambit had that cool line in the first one where he's like, "I usually play solitaire unless I got someone to play with," and it's like, smooth. But when Xavier tries to pull the same thing, like, I hope your date night was sufficiently memorable, it's like, I need to take a shower now. I'm so uncomfortable that you said that, you creep.
You bold man. How could you?
Yeah, he's creepy. But then, everything is all peaceful. The X-Men save the day, at least by beating the Morlocks, right? Nothing's wrong.
Nothing's wrong. Oh.
Wolverine.
Oh, Wolverine.
Wolverine takes everything in stride, right? He could just cope healthily with anything that happens.
That's the Wolverine we know. Oh, I mean...
That's the guy we know. Level-headed, calm, reasonable. They go to check on him, and what do they find?
They find an empty weight room.
Yeah.
Everything is gone. There's no Wolverine. I don't know if this is the episode where Cyclops says, like, well, that's like he's upset. But I know the ending is, Jean Grey says this to herself. It's because of me. Like, or where did he go? Or something like that. And I was like, wow.
There's that shot before they leave the Morlock tunnels where Jean Grey and Cyclops are like up against the wall. And they're kissing or being affectionate towards each other. And Wolverine's in the foreground and just turns around like a total simp and just walks away. Sad.
Yeah, very. It's I need to go back because I don't remember seeing that. I just remember, Cyclops and Jean Grey like saying, "Oh, thank God you're safe," and being affectionate toward each other because they're at this point we think they're a couple. But that just having Wolverine just like and turn around and like make that be the breaking point for him.
Yeah,
it's sudden again. I mean, I think this is the first true episode we see something like that. But his and Jean Grey's relationship has lasted 20-something minutes so far, and he's already devastated and heartbroken. And like we said, he does not take it in stride. He storms off, leaves a totally destroyed room, and it's quite a cliffhanger ending because immediately they gave us the to be continued. Yeah. Again, I think this was an okay episode for the stories that it was trying to set up. But overall, not my favorite so far. Yeah.
Like, I feel like the A story it should have been about Storm, because like I said, the one we can solve within the 30-minute time slot is Storm overcoming her claustrophobia. Mm-hmm. But there just really wasn't a payoff in that department. Because like I said, it reared its head, it reappears, and then there's no payoff ultimately to her overcoming her claustrophobia. Yeah. She does beat Callisto to save the day, but the claustrophobia never played a factor, so why was it so involved early on in the episode? And if they'd even thrown in a line about how the tunnels, because the tunnels, when she mentions it, they're crawling, but now they're in like a room with walls, and she doesn't normally feel claustrophobic in rooms. So I wish that there had been something about being underground and being aware that she's underground is affecting her more, but she fights through it, because then I feel like there would have been a payoff on her story arc. Otherwise the B plot is just really to set up this longer storyline of the Jean Grey, Cyclops, Wolverine love triangle. But definitely disjointed episode. But I like I said, the Morlocks I find interesting as characters just because they introduce the caste system. And not a spoiler alert, but foreshadowing, the Morlocks are involved in one of the biggest storylines of all time in the X-Men. Yes.
Ooh, that's kind of interesting.
I'll give you a hint. It's called the Warlock Massacre.
Oh, that doesn't sound very interesting anymore.
It's a cheerful story. And I can't remember because it's been 30 years. I can't remember if they do it in the cartoon show. If not, I'd be happy to tell you about it off air one day.
Cool.
I won't do it now because I don't want to spoil it if we do get to it. But originally, a couple footnotes for this episode. Originally in the comics, the X-Men that they kidnapped and took down to the Morlock sewers was Angel and not Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Oh, interesting.
And the voice actress for Storm, there were two. I didn't know this because I always loved Storm, the voice acting for Storm. This season is the only season that this voice actress did the voice for Storm. She only did the first season. Her name is Iona Morris. She also did work on the Fantastic Four cartoon. Oh, and she appeared in both Star Trek and The Twilight Zone in person.
Ooh, that's nice. Awesome.
Yeah. And then the voice actress for Callisto is AKA Underground Joan Jett or Pirate Joan Jett. Is Susan Roman, and she voiced Sailor Jupiter in the hit cartoon show
nice.
Sailor Moon. And she was one of the only voice actresses that remained throughout the entire run. And she also did the voice of Angel in the Rock and Roll, which is one of my favorite animated movies. Yeah.
Nice. Wow, that's a good career right there.
Absolutely,
just Sailor Moon alone, my goodness, I think that spans like about as long, maybe even longer than X-Men, if I'm not mistaken. So that's to be the same the entire time. Can't beat that.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Well, there it is. Any final thoughts, Jason?
No, man. I can't wait to talk about this next episode as well. This is the next episode is one where my original thought of Sabretooth came into play on why I think he's naked. But always fun talking with you. Hopefully next time we'll have that title down. Yeah. So the next episode of the X-Files, right? We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Yeah. But for now, happy Mutant Monday, everybody. And we'll be back next Monday. Same X time, same X channel, y'all. All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Bye.
Bye.